Dana Durnford, your host, the nuclear proctologist.org, and it is July 11th, 2017. Do up a few buttons, Dana. We're live, and I say that because we're live, because that is so hard to do. Children with over 11 becquerels a kilogram of cesium. Now, by the way, the Geiger counter to your right-hand side is live. We put a light on it for people on cell phones, so maybe they can see it. I don't know if it'll work for them or not, but 185 counts per minute. That's horrifying. That's really horrifying. Dana can't see anything with the glare of that big friggin' bald spot. I'm in your head. Okay, let's get serious. Let's get ready to roll. Let's get ready to rumble. No. Give me a gag order. I like them. I'm collecting them. I got 6 so far. Children with 11 becquerels a kilograms of cesium start to see heart problems. Okay. Well, infant deaths at the same time as Fukushima happened spiked. You know, there was 14,000 deaths also. There was a large spike in Idaho, and, you know, people were saying, hey, you know, if the EPA safe drinking water levels don't apply to rainwater when it comes to Fukushima because the numbers were so high, then nothing does. In Fukushima, were already looting their assets at TEPCO, so they're getting rid of the hospital and all kinds of assets right away. But 50 becquerels a kilogram in humans lead to irreversible lesions in your vital organs. Now, I'm not a doctor per se that's doing experiments to understand what that would mean, but if you got permanent lesions in your organs, you know, wind might be a better option, or solar. But if you put the windmills on a mountain where the wind blows all the time, you wouldn't piss off everybody on the coastline and in boats and in communities, and you wouldn't blah, blah, blah. You would just make wind 24 hours a day. I'm just saying, right? I'm not trying to be... Oh, Dana, can't you offer anything constructive? Kinda sometimes. But I see ya. I mean, I hear ya. Right? Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. But go kind of hang yourself if you don't mind. And the trolls. Hi, troll. How is you, buddy? Hey. No. Hey, I'm on YouTube. Beautiful girl, boy, Dina. And if you're not a zombie, you're welcomed. And if you're living fantasy land, see you later. And if you don't get your act together, that's gonna be... This is not gonna come to solve your issues. All right, okay. It's too late to solve the issues. We got to deal with it. Think of the planet as a car accident and it's bleeding out on the side of the road. And if we don't do something, we got no one to blame but ourselves because we're capable of trying. How can we not try? You can do that all you want, but that doesn't...
Radiation alert. A nuclear scientist tells us the cleanup at Japan's Fukushima plant could take 100 years.
Let's go back to the dancing. Anyway, I'm up on YouTube. Give us a share. Whatever. Put us on Facebook, Twitter. Do some help. Come on, man. Fucking help. Get out and show. Stop fooling around. I was thinking. I was trying to form a shot. Hang on, let's get it rocking. I got it. I'll get it together. I swear. I swear. They swear all the time, Dana. There's nothing you know. Show us something new, Dana. Show us something new. Oh, yeah. I got something new. Something old is something new. In my place, anyway. Here we go. Shut up and play the fucking video, Danny. You're pissing everybody off. Okay, I'll do it. Just stay with me one more.
High-level radioactive waste storage pools. And incredibly, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the nuclear industry, has given short shrift to the safety risks of pools. So these are catastrophes waiting to happen. There's the slower motion boil-down scenario on the pools, but there's the fast motion drain-down scenario. And one instance of that we can point to in the United States several times now over the decades is the near drop of heavy loads. And one of my favorites, because I'm from there, Southwest Michigan, is Palisades Atomic Reactor. October 2005, nearly dropped a load weighing 107 tons. It dangled over the pool for 2 days. They nearly overrode the emergency brake on the crane, which would have been catastrophic. You could drain these pools pretty much instantly. The waste would be on fire in a matter of hours, and the radioactivity releases would dwarf what we've seen at Fukushima Daiichi. There's no radiological containment around the pool.
Ooh. Well, for starters, shithead, Kevin, there's 5 million pounds in each building. You prick, Kevin. So what Kevin just tried to do was tell everybody there's less than 100,000 tons at Fukushima. Right? And that, not only that, that's not, right? He's reinforcing
a rare look inside the damaged nuclear
this
plant
nonsense.
in
Watch this.
Japan,
See,
nearly 3 years after the earth.
That's number 4 behind him. So Kevin, and number 3. Now Kevin Camp, right? Kevin Camp is claiming, same as Seth Dorn's about to do, or is this Miles O'Brien? I can't remember. We'll play it anyway, same as we're here. So the fuel pools are at the top of the building. And so I'm going to show you the media faking at the top of the building. And away I might as well go shoot to that. And there we go.
Earthquake and tsunami. The plant is still emitting radiation and likely will be for years.
So is my
Seth
Geiger counter.
went inside to see the painstaking cleanup.
TEPCO, the company that owns the crippled plant, is still struggling to deal with the disaster. All 4 reactors are still emitting radiation, but TEPCO has made some progress.
This is what TEPCO wants us to see, the heart of the decommissioning work taking place here in Reactor 4. What TEPCO wants us to see, the heart of the decommissioning work taking place here in Reactor 4.
Has made some progress.
This is what TEPCO wants us to see.
Has made some progress.
This is what TEPCO wants us to see.
Some progress.
This is
Dana, we
what
get it,
wants
for
us
Christ's
to see,
sakes.
the
I just
heart
like
of the
doing it.
decommissioning
It's
work
funny.
taking place.
Okay. Now he's in unit 4. It's getting so you can't even have a conversation with anybody anymore. Everybody's fucking crazies. Oh, by the way, that's unit 4 over there. And the fuel pools are, up there. Where, Dana? I don't see them. Okay, this could get tricky. Now you made me do it. Now you got 2 Danas. I hope you're happy. Oh, hang on. So that's a pull right there. And that's a pull right there. Oh, by the way, that's the reactor. Oh, and that piece there is this piece down here. And that piece on the other side of the yellow piece is that piece there. And that bulb there, of course, is the top of that. And the fuel pools, yeah, they were above that shit. By the way, that shit was right up the center, okay? I'm only telling you 500 more times. Come on, Danny, get out of there. You're confusing everybody. Fucking, you're confused? Oh, Kevin Camp. Oh, yeah, the fuel pools. Thank goodness they didn't crash it. Fucking Kevin Camp. Yeah? This fucking piece of shit is out there tricking everybody. That's why he gets all the airtime. This is big dollar, real bootlicking opportunity. You gotta be a fucking scum to do that job, man. Oh. The shit nuclear scientists say is over the top anyway. Busby's out there. I showed those clips yesterday. I can show you again if you like. Give me a moment. But well, think about these reactor buildings. Yeah, and you've seen Seth Dorn, and I can show you all kinds of people.
If they lose power to those, to that reactor or to any other reactors, past a few hours from now, you might reach a 3 Mile
Island. I'm getting in the midst of getting all these clips and redoing them all anyway, but... And so... Let me get this straight again, Kevin. We're only talking about Unit 4, by the way, because there's 4 of these reactors destroyed like this. Like, the world's biggest idiot said, hey, I know, let's put the fuel pools on the roof. Just... Why would you do that? Right? And shipping this death machine all over the planet, right, is they can't have a uranium reactor, per se, like a power plant in their country because it releases all the isotopes, and they fucking know it. They got legislation because of it. And so they know it's released into the community all the time, but they ship it to the communities where it's going to be released, thereby killing everybody in those communities with Alzheimer's and dementia and autism, and just wrecking the fucking planet when it goes south. Nuclear radiation, most carcinogenic thing exists. I'm telling you, it's like a banana and a potato chip, walking in the sunshine, getting on a fucking airplane, climbing mountains, sleeping next to somebody. Everything in Australia to do with nuclear is out there spreading that lie. Go to their site and you'll find a puke machine in every single story about nuclear. So, Australia is probably the evilest country on the planet because they know how bad it is. They won't have, by legislation, a nuclear power plant, that's releasing the isotopes all the time, the spent fuel rods and the fuel pools and everything else that are exposed to the environment. All the cast are not sarcophagus. They all have to be vented. If you're going to put it down in, like WIP is a prime example, all the cast are ventilated. That's why they have 55 caverns. All the caverns have to be vented. Because the gases, if oxygen gets in there, you have a detonation. And then you got to run away and leave everything behind. So why would you put it all underground unless you hated the planet or you were the inbreed of these industries? You were born into the industry because you're everything related to your whole family tree is the nuclear industry, and you're just evil by nature. You don't even understand it. You can't appreciate it. You're too disconnected. You look for me to say something salacious so you can chop it out and give me another gag order instead of going after the criminals. Show that you're completely incapable of being allowed to have children or being in a relationship or allowed to have a driver's license or be able to participate in a country and in any kind of facet of it. You're a dysfunctional lunatic to think otherwise than what I'm telling. I don't tell people, I show people, I demonstrate it. The onus on me is way more than any other speaker, presenter on the planet or researcher on the planet. I have to show you everything as I talk. I can't even go on a radio show without citing everything all the time, because if I don't, it's chopped up and used to attack me, to marginalize me, to victimize me, to demonize me, to segregate me. But yeah, we know so much about this radiation. This Goddard's journal was pumped out by Arnie Gunnarsson, James Colbert, Dan Dix. All the puke machines shoved him out there, and he's a nobody with the known fable. None of them could check. None of them could say, hey, wait, it's not like a banana? Really? And they're the ones everybody is giving their money to and turning to? Like, what the hell? Do you really think that those people that lie to you, the disinformation, not just cancer, but 1,800 illnesses and diseases and autoimmune deficiencies. Look, 229 counts per minute on the Geiger counter. And 55 is an evacuation zone. This is not low doses, 185, 193 counts per minute. These are not low doses. But low doses causes heart diseases and strokes. And child's risk of cancers from radiation is 10 to 100 times higher than an adult with the same exposure. And what did the World Health Organization? They raised the limit 75 times higher. Japanese officials than the World Health, the crazy batshit wackos at the World Health Organization, which are the actual puke machines. And they really appreciate it. Let me see. What I got here for you. Because, like they lied to you. They don't just bring speakers on their show or in their media that lies to you, right? They don't just interview people that are liars. They facilitate the lie. That's what media does. It pumps the lie. Yeah, Chad Myers, he's a weatherman. Now, I can show you the buildings are totally fucking destroyed and that they knew it right away. This is the pictures right away behind me. They knew that right away. Right away, they understood it. Can't keep up with it. What did I do that time? Don't do that again, Dana. Okay.
Plumes from Japan will reach the U.S. West Coast tomorrow have alarmed many Americans. Chad Myers is with us now. So, Chad, experts are telling us that there is no cause for alarm or panic, right?
Well, yeah, that's correct. And you want to know why?
Tell us why.
Because all of the graphics and all the animations you've been seeing in other places online that show this plume of radiation reaching the West Coast is part of a computer model that was run this week for a plume of radiation that escaped from Japan on Saturday. The only problem is there wasn't a plume. So all of this talk about this plume is coming to the United States is all debunked because there is no plume.
Now, Chad knew, right, at that time, Chad knew right at that time there was a plume. It's clear low levels are even more dangerous than a single dose for the whole environment because there's 8 million species on the planet. And if you spotted it in one, you can assume it's going to show up somewhere else. Infant deaths also up in BC, Canada, after Fukushima. Don't be fooled by paid industry consultants. This is the experts. Sydney Morning Herald. There was a large spike in deaths. And so Australia knew that. The Gunners, we don't need Gunnison to tell us this, right? We don't, right? Fairwinds tells another story. Gunnarsson is an industry. He says the fuel pools are still intact. Irreversible heart damage. Well, doses spread out like you seen on my Geiger counter. That's doses spread out over time. Could be dangerous than doses all at once because you're eating it You're breathing it. You're living in it all the time. So why is Australia, a country allowed to poison our planet with its product when it won't even use the product in their own country because they don't want that in their country? But fuck it, you'll buy it, let's ship it over there. Thyroid cancer risks last the entire life after your exposure. And 55% of the girls, 10 to 15, it's usually 1 in a million. Look it up yourself before Fukushima. These are horrific headlines. And this is frightening. Pre-Fukushima, 0.8% in a control group. Now 36%. So 13,646 did out of 40,000. 24,468 didn't. 35% tested instead of 1 in a million. Oh yeah, no, that's not going to go south. Human embryos in U.S., yeah, of course they're bioaccumulating it. We don't need the puke machine out there getting street creds, though. These are horrifying numbers. Game over. Why would you do the Olympics there? Japan got to get their act together. We'd go to the Olympics if they had fucking got busy 6 years ago and dealt with it. Instead of lying and murdering everybody, they'd probably still have the Olympics there. But they'll never have anything ever because they won't stop fucking lying. 3 million children after Chernobyl. Yeah, but it was like no one died, Dana. And it's such a fucking despicable thing to do. To come out with those lawyers. This is like we see so many of these professional lawyers. Let me see. Stanford. I just re-recorded all of this. I got that
Stanford
turned up.
University.
We're very, very lucky today to have two real experts on this topic.
I'll turn it up.
The first is Matthew Wald from the New York Times.
Although it's a mess to try to cope with a meltdown, or three meltdowns in the spent fuel pool right after a tsunami.
3 meltdowns. And so they know right away. That's why Italy thought about getting rid of nuclear right away, and Sweden and Germany. But it also shows us why Australia is so evil, because Australia was aware Stanford had come out right away. And so, who else have I got here? I can show you Berkeley. This is Kyle Vetter. He's from Berkeley.
There's probably someone on the panel foolish enough to address that question. But we are radiation safety professionals, and the licensing of nuclear power plants is really kind of out of our scope. I'm going to ask Dr. Vetter to talk briefly here. You haven't had an opportunity. I know you're an expert in dosimetry and measurements. So,
well, the reason I haven't had an opportunity to talk is because there are no problems in the medical field.
No problems in the medical field. And so big ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. But inhaling just one hot particle can cause a cancer long after, yeah? And a single particle gets on your lung, and 10, 20 years down the road, you got a tumor. But before that, you could get all kinds of diseases because your body is attacking it for decades. It's not like a flu. Your body goes back to normal after 7 days. Your body attacks it for decades and builds a tumor. Like the technological flaws they had to come up with to make this a killer, make this a planet killer, was they had to really participate to get this to work. Because the pools, see, and the reactor core is gone. It's gone. It's friggin' gone. Now, so unless you're a degenerate, you're going to say, no, Dana, it could be down there somewhere. you should think about the implications of you ever opening your mouth. The reactors are totally, completely destroyed. If you look at Unit 3, and everybody's claiming there's no issue in the media, means we better fight with everything we got to survive. We ain't got an option. We got to survive. Or... because these people are completely out of control. 3% efficiencies of chemotherapy treatment on cancer. You can't cure some... See, the 3% that managed to survive more than 5 years, they didn't have cancer till you gave them all that fucking radiation. Right? They're the wild card, for fuck's sakes. Anyway, I'll keep telling you. Till he killed me. And 6 gag orders. They got 6 gag orders against me. You think they're going to let me fucking talk in 2 years? You think they're going to give me another 6 gag orders over and over and over? No. You kiss my ass, good boy. They're going to burn me. So, xenon, by the way, flooded all of our countries. And I know this is going to come as a shock to everybody, but xenon doesn't fucking go by itself. Swear. I swear. Hey, I got another video for you. Oh, we're not going to do, like, yesterday was 2 hours because we got to tell the story. Today, I don't need to go 2 hours. That don't mean I won't. But I'm just kidding you. I'm not going 2 hours, trust me. Dana. I'll fix it. Okay, don't worry about it. I got it somewhere, maybe. I got a good groove. Gonna fuck it up with a puke machine here in a minute. So, here's a good one for you. Right out of the old silk corner. You hear him always saying how nuclear's carbon fucking free, right? Nuclear's, we need it for climate change, Dana. We need it. Jesus, there's climate change, Dana. It won't. Dana won't give us a break. I'm just mimicking the typical nuclear academic scientist, pro-nuclear watching. Dana fucker. That's what they call me. They call me Dana fucker. Dana little fucker. The fucking pro-nuke anti-nuclear bastard. No, man. You guys are crazies. You're fucking crazies. It's not like a banana, bird brain. Okay? You've just been lied to your whole fucking life, moron. Dummy. Useless fucking dipstick. You greased monkey, bird brain, dipstick. For fuck's sakes, go drown yourself in a bucket of puke. Put it on YouTube so we can enjoy it. Now this guy here, he's like the worst creature on the planet. He's what you call an economist. And that's the fucking scariest. That's like, you had, you had Billy the Kid there with a gun on each hip going, draw, and you had this guy there, I'm an economist. Which guy should you be the scaredest of? You'd be fucking, if you're saying Billy the Kid, you're wrong. That thing there. He kills 1 million with a stroke of a pen.
Well, thanks for having me. You started by referring to the number of people in the room with deep expertise in nuclear power and nuclear energy. I want to make clear that I'm not one of them. I'm an economist, and as an economist, I can provide something of a framework for thinking about the costs and benefits of certain activities, of which building nuclear plants and operating nuclear plants is one. Likely to be less incentive because now we've discovered in this country that we have a lot of natural gas that, while it doesn't have the same carbon advantages that nuclear has, it has a 25% smaller carbon footprint.
Ooh, see? Ooh, told you it was going to be good. So nuclear has a 25% smaller carbon footprint than natural gas. do the calculations first before I knock that out there. Hello, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. How you doing, everybody? How's your day going? It's much worse than what we're looking at. It's much worse than that. 5 millisieverts is how they lie to you. It's a single becquerel, right? A single atom, right? It goes in your lung, turns to cesium if it's certain xenons. And this is how they demonize the industry in increments over times, where they start acclimating people to this malfeasance of treating people as not like. Because there's a power plant within 16 kilometers, you can expect way more cancer, way more Alzheimer's, way more dementia and autism. These stuff are going to go crazy in your communities. 5,000 counts per minute is a dead man walking. The 43% of children is off the charts. If you can take it into consideration, it should be 1 in a million. And TEPCO is now just the Japanese government themselves, who don't even look at internal radiation doses. This guy got hit with gamma showing. 50 becquerels in your food. Japan is serving at 500 in your fucking meals. Where do you think that's going to go? Before Fukushima, 100 becquerels, cesium nuclear waste. I'm getting there. It's worth it. Okay, I'll tell myself that all day when I wake up in the morning until I go to sleep at night. It's worth it, Dana. And if I don't show up and whack into these fuckers, who will? Will you? Somebody else, maybe. But will they be an asshole like me? Probably not. Will they be a pain in the ass like me? Most likely not. Therefore, maybe, just maybe, I'm worth having around and helping out. Me after Fukushima. Nah, man, you want some more? Here, we can have 500 becquerels in your food now because the government said it's like walking in sunshine. There's some puke machine, some mass murder machine decided that they were going to walk. See, you picked up 30 million bags. 30 million bags. And do you get that? 30 million bags? Australia should have to take all those bags and work it up their arses. Every one of them should have to fucking eat those bags. Which, by the way, only meant to last a year at most or two. If you have it in like a proper foundation, put a tarp over it to protect it from the sun breaking it down. So who's the company that owns the bag? Who did they buy all the bags off some random company, or did they? Is that just another money-making scam? Like the ice wall was done because the taxpayers, because it was innovation, then the taxpayers would pay for it. It's not innovation, it's ludicrous. Something goes wrong, it all goes out into the ocean. Yeah, we got an ice wall. Whoa, it melted, we didn't know because it's so fucking radioactive there. Jeez. Like they will like pick up 30 million bags, make fake fucking walls. They'll do anything but deal with the problem. Anything but bring in Harvard and Yale and Berkeley and Stanford. Anything. What, you don't believe me? We'll see everybody tomorrow. Thanks for everybody. I'm just so burnt out. Yesterday I went right back to bed. It's like I'm trying to get through everything as quick as I can to get it done and get back up. It's just so hard. This is year after year. I have to do this 24/7 to make anything work. And so I'm not complaining, trust me. Anyway, here's Norma celebrating the closing of the power plant. And she makes some interesting statements that I think resonate for people?
32 years since 1970, when the commercial reactor program began, when there were two. Now we're at this moment of nuclear zero. As many of you know, May 5th is Children's Day in Japan. This is a special Children's Day. In a few minutes, about the time our first keynote speaker, Mr. Koide, begins to speak, the last commercial reactor of the 50 currently operating in Japan will shut down for routine maintenance. And as you know, there's a special relationship between children and radiation because they are particularly vulnerable. The vulnerability of precious beings who, generation after generation, literally renew our senses to the preciousness of life is a dark reminder that the technology that was to remove drudgery from our existence threatens that very existence. This moment of so-called nuclear zero, the best gift to the children of Japan, this was the message conveyed to me by Professor Ono Yugo, emeritus of Hokkaido University and one of the chairpersons of a lawsuit to stop this last nuclear reactor that's going into shutdown now forever. And I think it's a thought that many people have had, that this is the best gift for Children's Day to the children of Japan.
We have a huge operation now, and I'm doing what I can, but look at, I'm not a magic person. And I will fight to the last drop to keep this operation afloat. There's nothing I won't do to keep this operation per se. I'll sacrifice everything. But I got a real clip there that tells that story, I think. Not that anybody cares. It's Jacko. That's MIT. Oh, this is Rod Adams. Now, Rod is pro-nuclear. He's like demonic. He really is. He's a demon. He does all kinds of propaganda stunts. He shows up everywhere. He gets a lot of help. He works at a power plant, and he's out there lying constantly. He's the prime example.
Power is the same kind of power that we are going to be using here at the William States Lee nuclear facility. That facility will be 2,200 megawatts. If it was being powered by coal, it would require a 200-car trainload of coal every single day. Instead, it's going to need about 6-8 semi-tractor trailer loads of fuel every 18 months.
In America, the Colorado Rockies yielded a yellow sandstone that assayed 1 gram of radium to every 400 tons of concentrated ore.
A 200-car trainload of coal every.
You got to dig up a mountain to get a gram. And so a couple of tractor trailer loads, half a dozen tractor trailer loads is good for a year or two. So, but you got to dig up a mountain to get a fucking gram. And this I done 6 days tearing him apart because he's so evil. James Corbett, in the Corbett report, is a prime example of evil. Arnie Gunnarsson, right, telling everybody to fuel pull. Now, he made the assemblies. I'm not going to go down that road. Is that not evil to do that? Like the helicopter pilots in Chernobyl, There's lots of documentaries, but there's Harvard. I haven't got that clip right now, but
it was heroism.
During this operation, 600 pilots are fatally contaminated with radiation. All of them will die. But their efforts only buy a few days. Although it has been covered over, the fire still isn't out.
You are so fucked if you're in that spot. And so, Dr.
Because once that had caught fire, that
fuel pools,
fire, it would be like a stick, like a pile of hot sticks. You know, once the water had gone, it would go. Once that caught fire, nobody could access anywhere near the 6 nuclear reactors they had there, and all of them would have actually eventually failed.
So you're talking about the pool to your left? And so it's supposed to look like that. He's worried that it would blow up like that over there, and then all the fuel pools would be gone. You wouldn't be able to go near the site ever again. But what does that mean to anybody? If you're not in the know, right? Well, what it means to people that were watching it at home was, thank Jesus, that over there never happened to that behind me. But that over there happened to that behind me. And not only to that, but it happened to multiple reactors. And so the betrayal was complete when he
fuel pools, although they have in most of these reactors quite a lot of fuel in them, perhaps as much as 10 years worth of spent fuel, by this time are not generating as much heat as obviously the fuel in the core.
Yeah? They're not generating as much heat because they went straight up in the friggin' air. Okay. So scientists are not people you want for neighbors. That's probably what you're going to take away from that. And that they will murder you on the drop of a hat. If it means they can get a paper out there with their name on it. Well, I got their name. I got their paper. Let's see how that works for them. Good morning, everybody. Heat-related mortality in Japan. Jesus, what's next, I wonder? So this study is meant to explain away diseases and illnesses that killed people from the Fukushima accident. Heat-related mortality after the disaster. Not after the earthquake, but after Fukushima disaster is about the nuclear fallout covering it up, right? And so what we're going to show you is studies from that same paper. That's going to knock, it's going to extremely educate you on uranium and plutonium and strontium and tritium and cesium and all this other stuff in their own journal. But at first, to tell that story, I got to bring you some context of Japan. So the surface forecast, the xenon, was over North America, not just Japan. All of Japan, all of North America. And the implications just of this one study from the Norwegians Institute for Air Research. The one on your right here is NOAA's, and that's the drinking water standards here in Canada to your left because of Fukushima. They've been raising the levels to acclimate everybody to more radiation everywhere because they can't hide it. See my Geiger counter? Like one time I looked up at the beginning of the show, it was 254 counts per minute or something. It's astonishing. But rather than show you this model, Discovery Channel rolled out that model of NOAA's, which is the tsunami, and claimed you were an idiot because you think it's radiation. But this is the same company that made the first model had made a model of the radioactive fallout. That's 40 day I skipped ahead. So what you seen was they showed you the fake one instead of the real one, and the fake fuel pool instead of the real one so far. So when you think about uninterrupted line of radiation stretching across the Pacific Ocean non-stop, so the whole Pacific Ocean was covered in a cloud. It never stopped coming out. Think about having a fire in your house and keeping your doors and windows closed. Or just opening one of them a little tiny bit. And think about how the whole place has to fill up. Well, that's what happened with these models to our planet. The door, because we have the upper lower troposphere where it gets absorbed, but it's like oceans where they have different salinity, different temperatures, different speeds, and they assimilate into each other at a different rate, at different depths, because of different conditions. But we know about radioactive fallout is real because we know about Trans-Pacific air pollution. I'm just introducing people to make sure we have a good foundation for everybody. We know how automobile and forest fires and just dust storms come across the Pacific corridor to North America. Study after study after study after study, but also studies showing radioactive fallout. And then my research shows all the puke machines went out on purpose to manipulate everybody and ignored the actual
simulation shows how radioactivity is spread around the world from the disabled Fukushima Daiichi plant.
I had the extra audio up. I'll turn it down. I'll fix.
Researchers at the University of Tokyo
Japan study.
And released on
very quick.
The simulation is based on a scenario in which contaminated air was vented from the disabled number 2 reactor building on March 14th.
So they're talking about the study is only going to be based upon stuff they vented from a single building. The number 2 that still looks like it's intact, but it's not. It's a sniper round if you get too close to it.
3 days after the massive earthquake.
So here comes their study.
Computer
just based upon a couple of days releases.
Shows the radioactive material was lifted 5,000 meters into the air. It was then carried by westerly winds and spread over the Pacific Ocean. The images indicate that on the fourth day after being vented,
after being vented, you hear that word? I showed you the buildings destroyed.
Reached the west coast of the United States.
Now I'm going to show you a bunch of studies about what that stuff does. You're going to like what I got today for you.
On the seventh day, they approached
score.
Iceland after crossing the Atlantic.
So it covered everything after crossing the Atlantic. Now it was almost all the way. Within 40 days, it's around the planet. By the way, I'm Dana Durnford, the nuclear proctologist.org. My shit's being a bit slow this morning. It's because I don't know what I'm doing with the equipment. There's so much equipment to make this work, get a live stream in, do this live each day here at Beautiful Girl by Dana on YouTube. It's just an astronomical amount of work all the time. It's nonstop. And no donations. I need donations. People have to help me. I don't know how to keep the whole operation afloat anymore. And so, 6 gag orders being smeared in the media for taking pictures of the coastline. For saying, hey, these people are fucking lying to you and they're fucking monsters. And you look at my site, I call out academics worldwide, right? Well, some of them took offense, cost me 6 gag orders, 15 courthouse appearances, ferries, hotels, and 7 courthouse appearances, 8 altogether, 8 days at a courthouse. In a different jurisdiction where I got to take ferries and drive thousands of kilometers all together and stay in a hotel, just bankrupted me. Like I can't, it's so hard to recover. I came ashore after these expeditions, 260 days, 15,000 miles of the coastline, bankrupted me, rebuild the operation to what we got now. The boat is people from all over the world donating, and some guy committed suicide when I was on the ocean, apparently, and it was my fault because he donated to me. And so everything I've done now is garbage because somebody who donated to me committed suicide. And therefore, I'm a bad person because I was on the ocean at the time doing what I said I was going to do with the donations. So that's really something. So I'm a terrible, horrible, and I've been barbarized. It took me months to upload the pictures. As that was going on, they arrested me late at night in the dark. But I'm back, and I'm back all the time, right? I don't stop. Even under constant siege and threat, I'm always back. I'm always working diligently for this planet and for humanity. And so I'm going to show you a story because I'm the only researcher, I'm the last researcher to do species counts. All the species are gone is why. And I documented it, and I'm showing you before and after pictures. And I put all this together myself. It's shocking how much work I have done and accomplished and how many things together. Like I've had to raise incredible amounts to pull this off, to build the whole operation, increments, piece by fucking piece. It's really something. It's a horrible nightmare all the time for me. I live in absolute constant nightmare for me. Now, what you're looking at is what a depiction of radiation in the background, pulsing every second. It does that for infinity. That's why I call it climate change. Nuclear is climate change because it's released into the environment constantly, and it's constantly pulsing, and the pulses are energy. Right? Snow doesn't do that. Well, and it does now. But rain doesn't do that. I mean, it does now, since nuclear. There's 6 times more breast cancer around a power plant. But breast cancer, we didn't find mummies with missing breasts, okay? Per se, right? There's no history of breast cancer pre-nuclear. Now, radioactivity surrounds us. Each day we're exposed to a certain amount by virtue of being alive on planet Earth. Okay, we'll come back to that in a little while. So what they're doing is they're getting ready to conflate the natural stuff. This is the game over and over and over. And every scientist does it. Oh, well, it's everywhere. But, now, there's some fine ways to distinguish this. Among the nuclides that are gaining the most research attention due to perceived health threats, frequencies of occurrence and other considerations are americium, cesium, cobalt-60, iodine-131, 129 even, that's interesting, lead-210, which is natural, of course, plutonium, which is man-made, polonium, which is natural, but comes allegedly out of the chain reaction, not allegedly, but comes out of a chain reaction in very tiny quantities and is given the same atomic designation, right? But when it comes from a chain reaction from a nuclear reactor, it could have the same atoms, but it's not the same. Radium don't come from a chain reaction. Radon doesn't. Strontium-90 does. Tritium is natural, so is some strontium, but not strontium-90. But there's some tritium natural in by the cosmic rays, but the 3H is the endless stuff that comes out of the steam. The steam coming out of the chimneys, the cooling ponds that are piped up into it, of the steams that boil off 1 million gallons a minute. By the way, 1 million gallons a minute is 16 million glasses of water, right? And each glass of salt water has 1 billion creatures, 75 to 100 million of them are the phytoplankton, the basis of the food chain, the basis of the oxygen chain, the basis of the carbon sequestering chain. So let's look at the very top sentence, the last 3 words, perceived health threat. Perceived. Well, like the whole article started off with, we're surrounded by radiation. No, but we're acclimated to the natural stuff like everything else on the planet, including the 8 million species on the planet live in harmony with the natural stuff. So that introduction is meant to just truly fuck the water up. I'm going to show you Dirty Dozen, all right? Gil Meddy from Loveless Respiratory Research Institute. Now, that's what they were doing in the study, but Gil Meddy's studies shown, for instance, 144 beagle dogs. The dogs inhale 1 or 2 mono-sized dispersals a single fucking time. Not all day, every day. Not drinking it in their fucking water and eating it in their fucking food. No. Lung tumors found in 46 dogs were the second most common cause of death, but bone tumors in 93 dogs were the most common cause of death. And tumors in these 3 organs, which also included the liver, the lung, the bones, these findings in dogs suggest that similar dose-related biological. And so we know this because the curium is the biggest byproduct, not cesium or strontium or americium. They're the byproducts of the chain reaction, by the way. And they're just the tracers. We know all these studies exist on animals and how it affects them. There's no perceived radiation effect. Go fucking tell that to Gilmitty. All the dogs died within 5 years. So the only thing perceived around here is that scientists are somehow human like me or you, are somehow capable of having a moral compass. Fucking guess again. So, of these, radon occurs only naturally. Now, what a strange way to put that. An americium, you see that up there? Cesium, cobalt, and plutonium-239 and strontium-90 are exclusively man-made. But you just conflated them over and over and over in the study from the get-go. And we'll show you the manifestations of that. Occasionally, these naturally occurring substances becomes more concentrated or accessible through human activities such as mining and nuclear energy production. And other radionuclides are artificially created. Residents in almost all parts of the United States live on land that contain minor to substantial concentrations of radionuclides of one type or another. So shut your pie hole, give it up, go away. Stop fucking us. And other sources of these materials. I know, I kind of wig sometimes. Hey, try to walk a fucking mile in my shoes. However, the information we have do suggest that current drinking water standards for nuclides established by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, may not adequately protect my health, or yours, or theirs, or them, or the other 8 million species on the planet. Oh, by the way, there's another 8 million species on the planet. What? Really? What? I don't have to... Wait. There's more than TV on the planet, Dana? Yeah. Seriously, Dana. You're fucking with me, Dana. No. There's 8 million species on the planet. The EPA has no plans to commission any particular studies prior to its next review of the radionuclides in the drinking water standards. That's because Gilmitty already was like, they don't want, you don't need to produce studies, you fucking dip. But that's the point of it. We're really going to get into this coming up here, but there's this game. It's a very long one, so I have to break it into... I might have to hit this 2 or 3 times to cover it all, which is not likely because we're loaded with stories to tell. We're loaded with evil. We're constantly here kicking the shit out of evil. Get out of here! Stomp your guts out, you little bastards! And fucking get up and do it again, another little fuckers. All radionuclides are a source of ionizing radiation known carcinogen. Okay? Alright. I'm telling you 500 more times. I went out and showed an extinction event. Got arrested for it, and it's not going to change anything by arresting me. The extinction is not going to go away. It's going to get worse. You're going to suffer worse. Your hopes and dreams are fucking going to be shot. 185 counts per minute on the Geiger counter for people on smartphones. 193 counts per minute. At the beginning of the show, it was 250 or so in the first couple of minutes. Now, that study, heat-related. Now, this is what makes this special, is the things I do, is why they fucking hate me, why they gave me 6 gold medals, 6 gag orders for activism. You should be put into an incontestably small box. And we don't know how to do it, but let's fucking work it out. We got scientists sitting around with their thumbs up their arse. Somebody could get the kinks out of it. Just saying. I got some really mind-bending stuff coming up. Examples of human activities that may lead to radionuclides exposure include mining, milling, and processing of radioactive substances. And when you go through a chain reaction, they're 2 million times worse than what you were originally. Of hydraulic fracking, wastewater releases from the fracking, natural gas wells, the manufacture, use, disposal, or accidental releases of product such as nuclear fuel. So the manufacturing of fuel, the use of fuel, the disposal of the fuel, and or accidental release of the fuel, or nuclear weapons, or military weapons, or phosphate, or, right? They just put in phosphate fertilizer. Fuck. Mix it in with, now they got medical devices and smoke detectors and plastics. Just like, right? Just fuck it, throw it all in there together. Well, then there's americium, some smoke detectors. I know, but it's not supposed to be there. If I take it out and put it by the Geiger counter is going to do 40,000 counts per minute or something. And if I give it to a kid, they'll die in a few years of diseases. I crush it up, put it in a bit of food and feed it to somebody, they'll die in the future. These measures reflect because of, and I'll show you the documentation of, they actually talk about that coming up. Hopefully I'll get to it. We're clicking along at a pretty good click, so let's boogie. And it's 1,730. Just let me reinforce something for everybody. This is Unit 2, by the way, but it's destroyed. And by the way, it's destroyed. And everybody ran away, allegedly, because it burned continuously for 7 days, but it didn't. It blew a hole out. And this is the one they allegedly vented I was talking about at the beginning of the show. This is reactor 3. There's nothing there. Reactor 1 detonated, blew up, caught fire, blew up, caught fire, like reactor 3. The plumes came in North America. They're real, see? 20 million particles in the rain of iodine-131. This is catastrophic. Can you imagine what Japan was like? But no, they're out there studying people who might have died, according to them, because it was too fucking hot. They couldn't use their air conditioner because all the typical power plants were fucked up. And so the damage was 670 miles of the coastline, severe damage with the tsunami. It was a lot more than that, don't get me wrong. And the country was ripped up like a wood chipper went through it. And power plants were in that same area where the tsunami took out the town, right? And the tsunami took out 670 miles of the coastline. Now, when they have a nuclear accident in any nuclear power plant, they don't, and you know, they need workers. They don't go to the other power plant to get the workers, right? Yeah, they do, Dana. No, they don't. No, they don't call in experts from Harvard and Yale and Stanford and MIT to do the work, do they? No, fuck no. No. Why? What are you talking about, Dana? Of course they do. Harvard and fucking run down there and fix shit. If there's a nuclear accident anywhere, they're going to come from all directions, all the major institutes. No. They got power plants everywhere. They got experts everywhere. Dana, they'll get them. No. What they'll do is they'll get homeless people at the theaters. They went to the theaters and took people out of the theaters. This is a BBC documentary. They went to the theaters, took people out of the two back rows. Never went to the nuclear power plant and say, hey, we got an accident at our power plant at Windscale, Sellafield in England. Let's go to the theater and get a bunch of people. We got an accident. It's okay. We got our own police department. We'll go get people.
Into the back of the reactor.
To push shit out of the reactor.
But the heat had melted the cartridges, so they'd become stuck inside the core.
Just listen to this.
They were forced to use scaffolding poles they'd found nearby to try and push the cartridges out. Radiation was so intense they could only work a few hours. They were running out of firefighters.
You don't work a few hours in that environment, folks.
From the factory had turned up looking for volunteers. And they brought a bus, and they decided the best way to get the volunteers was to go to the cinema and volunteer the back two rows at the show to go into the factory to, as it turned out, to help push the fuel rods out of the reactor.
So they went in, stole people from a theater to push the fuel rods out of the reactor instead of going and getting people. Because you know what they do without an accident? The first thing they do is they fucking run away. You know why they run away? Because it's not like a banana. And it's not like heat, which is such a betrayal. What a horrible... Can you imagine? Could there possibly be anybody worse?